So I'm shooting a little video today about some photos that I took a little while back. Been stuck at home, haven't had a lot of photo projects out in the world, and so what have we photographers been doing but looking through the archive and digging out stuff that's been sitting there for a while. These aren't particularly that old because I started with the most recently and started working backwards from there, and so far I've only made it to, this was like in February. I had a photo shoot down in the city for Convene. I was shooting some headshots for them, which I'll get to later. In another episode, not this one. And we stayed at a friend's house, and down the road from that friend's house is this coffee shop that I really like, Reunion. It's an Israeli-style coffee shop. They've got like shakshuka and labna, things like that. And you can get espresso there. They've also got a bar there at night, which I never had a drink there. Anyway, the interior is really nice. It's a pretty place to be. And because this was pretty early in the day, and I think it might have even been on a weekday, there was like nobody there, which is nice. I like having most of the coffee shop or most of a restaurant to myself. This particular image, it was shot on a rainy day, and so you can kind of see that I want to bring that vibe across in my image. I really enjoy a nice like moody rainy day, and so I wanted the image to be like a little dimmer, a little more of that style. And I also really like that you can tell a lot about the place from this image. You can tell that they've got table seating. You can tell they like to put little flowers out on the table. You can see that they've got a little pastry selection there behind the little plexiglass. Another thing that I really like to do is I'm pretty picky about my espresso. I tend to go pretty crazy when I have coffee, and so if I'm going to have it, I want to have really good coffee. And so I tend to look for certain markers when I go into a coffee shop to decide if I'm going to have coffee there. And the espresso machine is usually one of those. I try to gauge like how good of an espresso machine they have. Therefore, maybe they are intentional about having good coffee. And so I tend to try to include, when there is a nice espresso machine, I like to include that in my image so that somebody who's looking at the image has the same proclivities as me would be like, oh, okay, decent espresso machine. It's not some like super auto garbage. Might be a nice drink there. Might be a place I want to go. And so I like to try to include those in my images. And you can also tell from the shot that they've got the beers on the wall and the alcoholic stuff. So you could get a lot of information about what the place is like from this image. Is it like an amazing, like eye-catching image? Maybe not. But I feel like it does this job really well of conveying what the place is like and what it's like on a moody kind of rainy day, and that's what I was really going for. So I would say it's a success at doing what I intended for it to do. Let's look at the next image. I took a lot of images here, and I culled the set down to very, very few, which I've been better about in recent years. For a long time in my photography, I had a lot of trouble like divorcing my images. They call it like killing your babies or something like that, about like, every image you take, you're like, oh, but it's good, I like it because I took it. But it's like, is everybody who sees it gonna like it, and is it really that good? Like, does it really deserve to be shown off? Like, there's the old gag about like somebody showing like travel slides on their like slide projector when they got back from their trip and just always having way too many, and I'm guilty of it too. Like, I went to Hawaii and I took like thousands of photos, and it's very difficult for me to be like, well, here are the 10 best photos from the entire trip. Like, I still haven't culled that collection down. But anyway, I try to be a lot more heartless now in my image selection. Just like, is this image excellent? And like this set of images, they're good, but I don't think they're gonna like win photography awards, But I took a couple. I took a lot, and I thought I might as well have a couple that I liked, and I did have just a few that I liked. I ended up with 4, and really I think like 3 of them are good. The other one we'll get to it. Anyway, I like this image because of the action in the cup. I don't put milk in my coffee, but Regina does, and like. I could argue that the mug being visible on the left side isn't very good, or the glass over there, but like I didn't even notice it until just now when I made this video. So anyway, about the contents of the cup, I really like the stirring action, and I like the way milk looks in coffee, but I don't drink milk in coffee, so I don't see it all the time, and so it's kind of nice to capture that when I see it. And that's one reason that I am drawn to this image, is that I really like how beautiful the swirling motion, the activity, and the colors in the cup are. Here's a funny photo where I've taken a lot of photos like this of like an espresso on a table, and with this one I actually decluttered the table, and I have like a series of images as I decluttered it. But when I looked at them afterwards, I decided that the first one where I hadn't done anything to it was actually my favorite. So I'll show you that real quick by opening up Lightroom, and we'll go to all of our photos, and we'll go back to that one of the coffee cup. I am in develop, and so it's going to take forever to load. And let's see, it's right there. So here's the first shot that I took was one a little bit closer, and then I decided to move it out and be at a little bit more activity in the frame. And then I took out the water glass, and this is nice. And then I took out some more glasses, and now it's a little too empty and sterile for me. Maybe for somebody else, this is the shot that they really want. Also, the foam was starting to die on the macchiato a little bit. But I just didn't like this as much. I felt like this is a more like engaging, alive image because there's more stuff going on in it. And also, like, had I known that when I shot it, I wouldn't have gone through any more trouble. I would have been like, there it is, there's the shot, let's go. And that's the thing that you sort of evolve into after shooting for a while, is you start to get a feel for how you like an image, and you start to know what that is right away. So like the next time that I go to shoot a shot like this, I might look at it and say like, okay, I really don't need to move anything because I like how it is right now, or maybe not, we'll see how I do. And so this image I decided to keep as well, because I really wanted to keep one of the sentimental images of me and Regina and Kieran all out at this cafe together, because this is the first time that we took Kieran anywhere that wasn't home, and so we went down to the city. It was sort of like a little trip. It wasn't a vacation because I had to work and Regina had to take care of Karen the whole time. So not a vacation, but an adventure, And it was our first time going out and doing that together. And, maybe it'll be a nice picture for Karen to look back at. I had a lot of other pictures of her and Karen from this restaurant, but I just didn't really like any of them as much as this one. And but I like that there's more context to it. It's not just them. It's also Regina's plate of shakshuka, and you can see my little like Israeli pancake thing in there. So you get a feel for, it tells the whole story of like, we were here at this place, Kieran's sleeping while Regina's trying to eat, and I was taking photos. It's a pretty good depiction of us, and I like it for that reason. Do I think it's an amazing photo? No, not particularly. But I think it's better than a snapshot. I think that there's a little bit more character to it, and I like it, and I'm drawn to it. I don't think I would like print it out and put it on my wall, but I'm happy with it. I'm happy to have it, and I'm happy that I took it. And so like this little set of images is sort of a story in that. Like none of them are phenomenal to me. I don't think any of them are ever going to make me any money. But I enjoyed taking them, and I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed creating the images, and I'm enjoying looking back at them. And so, in that way, it's more of like a personal photography kind of thing. And I think that's important to think about because, with photography being more popular now than it ever has been, and thanks to Instagram, people looking at it as like a tool to make money, some people start taking photos and they're just like, how can I make some money with this? And like, maybe you don't have to, maybe you just take some images that make you happy, and that's it. And that can be a good thing. I think that's a good message for today. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.